Welcome to the Dental Implant Practices podcast, where each episode will explore how to integrate dental implants into your practice and into bone, with your host, Dr. Philip Gordon.
Hey guys, thanks for being listeners of the show. Go to dentalimplantpractices.com and find all of our resources. Also find us on Facebook, Dental Implant Practices page on Facebook, and go to iTunes and leave me a review on iTunes so we can help spread the message. Thanks.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Implant Practices podcast. I'm your host, Philip Gordon, and today it's a huge honor for me to be interviewing in person in Southern California the president of Implant Direct, Tom Stratton. Tom, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you.
So we started out the morning with a tour of the Thousand Oaks facility, which is your operations hub and really where all the manufacturing happens for Implant Direct. And now we are in Valencia, California, which is your customer support hub. In addition to being at a training seminar in Las Vegas last month, I think I've seen basically the three American locations for Implant Direct. Are there any other places in the U.S. that you guys are currently located?
Other than lots of cars with lots of outside sales reps,
Sure.
That's it.
Okay.
Those are the three facilities that we have. Two here in Los Angeles, as you mentioned, Thousand Oaks and Valencia, and then the Las Vegas facility. And then in Europe, we go direct in many countries, and our headquarters there is in Zurich, Switzerland.
I think everybody knows about Implant Direct, so I'm not going to go into much about the company yet. What I'd like to do is get a little brief introduction of yourself, a little bit about you, and if you could describe how you got into the dental field.
Yeah, so on the personal side, I've been married to my wife, Kim, for 31 years. 3 kids, a 30-year-old daughter, 27-year-old son, and a 24-year-old daughter. Matter of fact, our 30-year-old is about to get married in May, so we're excited about that. And we raised our kids in Southern California, but I grew up and lived for about 36 years in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So just love the West Coast and what that has to offer our family, but spend a lot of time back in the Midwest as well.
So growing up in Minnesota, and now back here in Southern California, you did some dental sales in both parts of the country. Is that correct?
Yeah. So,
or take me back to the start of your introduction in the dental field.
Back in November of 1992, I entered implant dentistry, and I've been in this industry ever since. I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the relationships that I was able to build with clinicians, but also with people that I work with and staff members and just the business model itself. So I was a sales rep covering 4 states when I started in 92, 93, 94, in Minnesota, Wisconsin, North and South Dakota. Then I became a regional sales manager. Did that for 2 years, then a director of sales for a couple of years, then a vice president of global sales and marketing for a couple of years, and then became a general manager for maybe 4 years, and then a president for the last 11 or 12 years. So I've been with 3 major companies. I was almost 11 years with DENTSPLY International. With that company, I started as a sales rep and moved up to a general manager role. And then I was with Zimmer, which at the time was called Sulzer Calcitech. And then I came here in 2013, and that year is when I became president of Implant Direct.
Well, great. It sounds like you've got a lot of fantastic experience in the dental industry and specifically dental implants. Is that right? I mean, most of your time in the dental field has been implant specific. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's either been all but 4 of the years were just with implant companies. The other 4 years, I ran a dental laser company, but the only time that we sold these lasers were during implant live surgery courses. So really, for the last 24 years almost, I've been exclusively in implant dentistry.
Great. So I'll bet in 24 years, you've seen a lot of changes in implant dentistry. Tell me about a little bit of the history of Implant Direct. I know you became president of Implant Direct in 2013. Kind of walk people through the history of Implant Direct that just know about Implant Direct now, but how did it get started and where is it at today, and where do you foresee things going moving forward?
Yeah, really the lineage of Implant Direct really goes back well over 30 years. Dr. Gerald Nisnik started a company called Corvent and Corvent started and created the internal bevel hex thread connection. Before that, Branimark was selling an external hex implant that had some issues out of the marketplace. So Dr. Nisnik created this, got a patent for an internal hex. Corvent then went to DENTSPLY International through an agreement. And so I was there for 4.5 years, and we really saw the industry take off from a specialist-driven, where in the early days it was only an oral surgeon that could place the implants and a prosthodontist that could restore them. And then probably in 94 or so, the periodontists started to place implants, especially with Corvent and some other companies that were out there, 3i. And so the periodontists started taking off and placing implants, and in some ways they started to grow much faster than other specialists. And then probably within the last 10 years, but especially in the last 7 years, general dentists have taken off and are the fastest growing segment of dentists that are starting to place implants. I believe that much of that took place during the recession. A lot of dentists were looking, with patient visits going down, they were looking to find ways to keep the more patients in their practice as opposed to referring them out. And that's when Implant Direct really took off. So Implant Direct came into the industry and created this brand new model, this value segment in 2006, and really took off after coming into the marketplace.
Yeah, I think it was, certainly about timing, the recession and also maybe the rise of CBCT cone beam technology really started making a strong push at that time. And so there were some key factors that gave Implant Direct the right timing and its direction and growth with the general dentist. I think that's huge. There's not a lot of companies that really back and support general dentists with their implant pathway, much like Implant Direct has. So I really commend your guys' efforts for that.
Well, thank you. And I will say at the beginning of the company's founding, really it wasn't at the time about doing a lot of training of the general dentist or dentists in general. Really the focus was finding those dentists that are already placing a lot of implants. And they saw the value of what was created here in the all-in-one packaging and the pricing. I mean, it was an incredible business opportunity for a doctor, but it wasn't just the all-in-one packaging. What happens in a dental practice is the least amount of disruption to a dental practice, the better and the faster a new product can be implemented or integrated into that practice. So for instance, what Implant Direct did is not just create this all-in-one packaging with an incredible price, but all of the tools that a doctor already has to place the implants and to restore the implants, the doctors can continue to use those. They could simply switch to our fully compatible products, and they could start placing our implants and use all the tools that they currently have and they had already invested in. So for these multiple compelling reasons, on top of that, the economy changing, it really drove this business and drove the growth.
Yeah, so that ability to be fully compatible with most of the major brands and the all-in-one packaging and the less things that maybe the assistants had to order and the competitive pricing with the value services. I mean, do you feel like that's what really initially gave Implant Direct an edge early on to get to grab market share?
Yeah, and what we did, well, I wasn't there at the time. I came in 2013, is what Dr. Nisnik set up was not only that, but really at the beginning, hence the name, everything was direct. So it was easy. Whenever you wanted to order as a doctor or a staff member, you didn't have to worry, were we open? So you could just go online and order. On top of that, there were incredible, and still are incredible, video opportunities for learning. So let's say a staff member turns over or there's a new doctor that comes in. They could be directed to our website to go into the store, and anything they wanted to order practically would have a video associated with it on how to use it and what it was meant to do. And so, you look at how do you order? How can you be trained? How can you train your staff when you're getting ready for a procedure you haven't done for a while? You can go in and see it on a video. Then you get an incredible price. You don't have to change your tooling. It's made in America, 100% of the products that are sold. I mean, it was just this compelling reason for specialists and general dentists that are already doing a lot of implants to switch over to us. But then again, that's the low-hanging fruit. So we had to evolve, and we evolved into what we are today, which is a lot different than what we were in 2006, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's helped you with that evolution is continuing with current trends in implant dentistry, but also getting in the education field, teaching general dentists wanting to get in implants. Okay, and we can grab people that are already using implants, but we can also go after a huge market of the general dentists that don't know how to place implants and maybe would like to, but haven't known where to go for training and haven't been shown how to use these kits and how to use these implants and how to restore them. And so talk with me a bit about the education that Implant Direct offers. What really sets you apart in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So when I arrived here in 2016, we had just built a brand new state-of-the-art training center. And there's actually two parts to the training center. There's a 40-seat training area with hands-on, and then there's a 25-seat wet lab for working on pig jaws and working on lasers and different techniques for surgical. And when I arrived here, there were really two courses. Actually, somebody you did a podcast for, Dr. August de Oliveira, was one of our speakers. And that was in 2013. Two courses. I think that year we may have had 13 or 14 courses. What we've evolved into is we have 11 separate, distinct courses now, and about 42 to 43 weekends of every year is filled with 40 or more doctors taking courses in our Las Vegas center. And I can tell you, if you go onto our website, you're also going to see something called, there's a stamp on the courses that are what are called passport approved. So we created something called the Implant Direct Passport. So we limited it to 200 doctors could buy a 2-year unlimited amount of education in our Vegas center and in other places that these passport approved courses are at. Now, by the way, every one of the courses that are done in Vegas are passport approved. So a doctor gets a passport, literally a passport, education passport, and they go to our courses and they get a stamp. They did the 101 course, the 102 course, the August de Oliveira, the restorative course, the guided surgery course. I mean, it goes on and on what we offer. So we've had 200 doctors that go. Now, before we created the passport, most doctors never went to more than 2 or 3 courses. Now we have doctors that have gone to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 courses over 2 years. That's an exciting thing. We have an incredible passion for these courses, but we're evolving even more. We haven't been doing the full arch courses. Well, those are going to be added soon. And those are going to be some of them will be passport approved, but some of the more advanced ones, if it's with live surgery, will be separate courses that you have to pay a different amount for.
I know I've been to 1 or 2 of those courses and definitely looking forward to taking the others. I think, the information presented at those are fantastic. And of course they talk about how to use Implant Direct implants, but even if you're not placing Implant Direct implants, the knowledge there is great, and I think the education's fantastic. And this passport now gets it at a price point that you'd almost be foolish not to sign up for that, because any one of these courses anywhere else could be $5,000 a weekend, and you guys have basically got it down to $4,000 or $5,000 for as much as you want to take in a couple of years.
Yeah, thank you. So if somebody signed up for 11 courses at between $1,000 and $1,200 a piece, they would be spending $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 if they decide to go to all 11. You can do the passport for $4,000, just under $4,000. So unlimited education in a beautiful new location, a building, I should say, about 8 miles off the Strip in Las Vegas. And I can assure you, doctors love to come to Las Vegas for our education.
And I stayed on the Strip, and it was a 10-minute Uber ride, and had a great experience. The training was great, and the people there that run that facility are fantastic. So I had a great experience, and I'll definitely be back. So I would encourage other people to go as well. We talked about, some history about Implant Direct and some history about what you're doing. And what would you like dentists to know about Implant Direct? What are some things that you're doing now that maybe some dentists know but don't know all about, or what are some things that you want people to know about Implant Direct as far as what you're doing, what you're offering, services, support, and all those things?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, we already talked about the facilities we have, right? So the worst part of this small, some would say a cottage industry still in implant dentistry, is other people defining who you are. So with a name like Implant Direct and how we started with no sales force. It was just order online and you have a couple of customer service people. But you saw what we have here. So you saw our manufacturing hub in a beautiful part of Los Angeles. What I would want doctors to know is, number one, we've got about 200 employees working 3 shifts, 7 days a week to keep up with our demand. So the first one is what they receive from us, all of it is made in America and made here in Los Angeles. The second thing I would want for people to know is where we're at right now. So this is our customer support hub. Here we have 75 plus people in this beautiful 20,000 square foot building. We have 22 inside sales people. We have 19 customer support people. Those 19 customer support people, they answer the phones on average in less than 3 seconds. We have 4 technical support people. We have video capabilities for doctors that call in that want immediate help. We have the entire global marketing and education and IT web design people here. Another thing I want the industry to know directly from me is we have 85 or 86 customer-facing people in the U.S. alone. We have another 6 in Canada. And these are sales reps, regional sales manager, dental service organization specialists. These are people that are out in the marketplace helping dentists every day, every single day going out and helping. The other thing that I think is important is where we go direct. We go direct all of North America, Australia, Western Europe, and then everywhere else we go through distributors. So we're in every major country in the world. It's important to understand what our history is. We aren't a company, some of our competitors say we're a clone company. Well, we're the original company that owns the internal hex patent. Look at what's out in the marketplace. Almost everything is some sort of internal connection. The conical connection is derived from the internal hex. So we're the leaders in innovation. The lineage of our company is absolute leading innovation. We're the ones that created the value segment. Nobody had that. They had discounters and premium. We're the ones that created the all-in-one packaging. There was none of that before 2006. So I think it's important for people to look is while we made things compatible, they're not clones because we believe we have compatibility at the core of what we do, but we've added features to everything. So we've made the product better, yet still compatible. I think the last thing that's important is, I was with a dental service organization recently. We're comparing us to a much larger company that's been in the industry for 40 years. And they said, well, in California, you have 9 reps. How can you call on us and be as effective as a company that has 30 or 40 reps in California? And I stopped them. I said, honestly, that is like taxi service versus Uber or Lyft. We don't want to be a taxi service. We don't want you waiting for 20, 30 minutes, not knowing when that taxi is going to show up, not knowing if you're going to be able to use your credit card. We're the Lyft and Uber of implant dentistry. So I invited this DSO executive to come back out here to this Valencia facility. This is where you took a tour today. We have got, a doctor wants help, right? A doctor, think of how we communicate with each other now. Texting is the exact same thing as talking to 90% of the people out there now. Well, at least 90% of the people under 60. Doctors want an answer via chat. We have that. They want to be able to text with the corporation. We have that. They want to be able to do video calls to be able to show somebody with authority that knows what's happening, we do that. They want to be able to call somebody. We're open from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. We've got all these people here answering phones in less than 3 seconds. What they want is they need help now. So if you have 40 reps in California, or if you have 9, but you're able to get to the doctor within 30 seconds, I personally believe the doctor doesn't have time to wait for one of those 40 reps to get there in 20 minutes or 40 minutes or 3 hours when they have a patient in the chair. They can get to Implant Direct in any of those ways that I just laid out within 30 seconds. That's Uber and Lyft. So I think that's important. We're changing the way people communicate with their implant partner, not just coming into your office to sell you more and more. We want to be the solutions provider for the doctors. I do want to lay out one last thing. There's a perception, and even in some of your questions, there's a perception that we simply call on general dentists, right? I mean, because of the land grab for the general dentist, you've got 130,000 to 160,000, right? Some are not active or some are part-time. And because there's this land rush to train dentists to place more implants, we seem to be put in that category of, yeah, we're selling to general dentists. And we sell to a lot of general dentists. But the reality is about 25% of our sales in the US are to specialists. We get calls all the time from the specialists that say this: I've been hounded by my buddy who I went to school with, or I'm in a study club with, and they keep telling me about Implant Direct. Tell us about what you guys are doing. We're growing like mad in that segment as well with the specialists. So it's an exciting time for us.
Yeah, I think you've got to be able to look at both markets. I think specialists realize now, generalists are going to be placing, and generalists know, of course, specialists are going to play a huge role. So one thing I've always liked about Implant Direct is the openness and willingness to work with both sides at the table, and not necessarily showing favoritism towards one or the other and saying, look, we're here for dentistry in all its specialties. So I think that's an important thing, that you guys are open and willing to walk and talk with both sides of the specialty line.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. I think the point that I would like to make is I personally believe this, but we train our team to not only believe it, but to speak this out in the marketplace. You and I talked about this earlier in our manufacturing hub. I know that there are certain sensitivities with general dentists placing implants. And our position is this: we believe that the average general dentist that decides to place implants places less than 20 to 25 implants per year. Not you, and not the Dr. John Julians of the world or Dr. August Dale Laveras of the world, but the average general dentist. But what we're training them to do, think about the Passport experience. Most of those are general dentists. We are training them to have an eye for implant dentistry. Are the vast majority of them going to do sinus lifts? No. They're going to send those to the specialists. But they have to have an eye for implant dentistry to see the opportunity to even diagnose it and get it to the specialist. Are they going to want to be around the nerve? No. Are they going to be a little bit nervous in the anterior maxilla? Yes. So what we want to do is we want to train the dentist. If you come to us and you say, I'm thinking of placing dental implants, great. We'll train you to have an eye for implants, to restore implants. But when you aren't prepared to place, partner with your specialist. They're your best friend and they will help you. So that's why we don't have to try to protect some sort of a segment. We're very open and we're very honest with this. We believe we have the most compelling business model in the industry, and we are by far the most open. We are not training general dentists in a closet like many of our premium priced competitors are doing. We simply want to have doctors understanding implant dentistry more, and that includes restoring them.
Yeah, you've got to have all sides of that equation. If you don't even have a care for implants, you're never going to diagnose them and you're never going to refer them. So, it's got to be a circle in the community, and the high tide rises all boats. And so I think more and more people are getting on board with that philosophy, and I'm glad to see Implant Direct kind of leading charge with that. So
well, and I think implant dentistry obviously is making a huge comeback. I mean, think about it. In the early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, you had 20% growth year over year. That doubles your business every 4 years. That was the low-hanging fruit of implant dentistry. Those were the golden age. That was the golden age of implant dentistry. Then the recession hits and it's flat to negative. But now you have consistent between 4 and 8% growth. But one thing we are finding is there are many industry reports that show that the premium segment is growing at between 2 and 3%, meaning the long-standing established companies that are out on the marketplace that have some pretty high pricing and the way that it's packaged, you're buying more and more parts. But the value segment is growing at between 9 and 12%. And you have a shift where doctors that traditionally would not look at moving over to the value segment, they are moving over in droves now. And the nice thing is we have to deliver. We equate this to being in the major leagues. All right, so people are in spring training right now, right? And people are starting to get excited about it. Whether you're in the premium segment or you're in the value segment or you're in the discount segment, doctors expect you to be in the big leagues. They expect you to deliver certain services. So that's why we went from no sales force to 85 plus in the US alone, from very few customer service reps to 45 with inside and outside reps now. And we just continue to evolve so we can, and education from going from 2 courses to 11 courses. And we continue to evolve so we can get this industry back up to 6, 7, 8% all up. That's our goal.
Now, you talk about evolution and change with the business and change with implant dentistry. Speak about your partnership with Danaher. When did that come about, and what changes have you seen that manifest within Implant Direct?
Yeah. So in 2010, there were really 2 companies that came together. Danaher had a Cybron implant company. And at the end of 2010, they bought, Danaher created a joint venture, which they merged Implant Direct's business with Cybron. And over the next couple of years, that really kicked off January of 2011. What happened at that point is Implant Direct joint venture with Danaher. There were a couple of things for the first few years. Is we took the Cybron Implant Solutions product and we phased them out of the marketplace and guided those doctors to our Implant Direct solutions. So our legacy product line, our interactive product line, and our Swish product line. And so that was for the first few years. And then what we started to do is maybe in 2014, we started to introduce Danaher Business System. So Danaher is a $17 billion company with a market cap of around $60 billion that owns all kinds of dental companies, ICAT, Pelton and Crane, Cavo, Kerr, and other companies. And Danaher Business Systems was the first company in the United States incorporate the Toyota way, the Toyota business model of continuous improvement. But we didn't just do it for operations. You actually heard about a couple of things in the operations center. So in our operations center, we have what are called Kaizens and for continuously improving different segments of our operations. But we also do this in marketing, on things like funnel management and sales and customer support and education. And we are continuously, through the Danaher Business Systems, looking at ways to improve our services, our products, et cetera. So the partnership with Danaher has been quite profound. They bring in services and experts to Implant Direct for free. We get all this benefit, but we continue to have the opportunity to be entrepreneurial. So within this joint venture, for instance, when everybody else is on a different platform, let's say Outlook platform, and how they communicate with each other, we're on the Google Apps platform. So that's a difference, for us. We think of it as Lyft and Uber. Our meetings are on video conferencing. Our collaboration is incredibly powerful. So we have all the benefits of a large corporation. We're incredibly nimble and entrepreneurial at the same time. So it really helps us in many ways to improve.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys continue to innovate, and Danaher's backing allows you to do that, creating business opportunities to really take your systems to the next level, and then that produces more innovations, and then you guys take that energy and focus it into research and development, and continue to evolve with the meeting the needs of the dentists and the industry. The dental implant industry keeps shifting and changing and evolving, and so you guys are able to meet up with those evolutions and deliver products that meet the needs of the dentist. So that's hugely important in a field like implant dentistry that continues to evolve and change all the time. Can you talk about a little bit about your research and development and some of the things maybe you've got going on or coming up, or just talk about your philosophy and growth and expansion and R&D?
Well, a couple of things I'd like to say on that. First of all, before I dive into some of those innovations, I think it's important to also note we have building really, really strong partnerships with leaders in the industry. So not just the speakers that we have, but some of the outside groups that are innovating and are delivering the gold standard in dentistry. So for instance, our partnership with Zest and the Locator product. This is a product that has changed dentistry over the years. So that's a very strong partnership. Bone grafting, our biologics business. It went from nearly zero in 2013 to 16% of our business now. These partnerships with bone banks and other groups have really helped on the innovation side to deliver us products that quite frankly, that's not our sweet spot. Let's go through innovation on the restorative. So we have a segment of our company called Custom Direct. Custom Direct, we have for doctors that design their own, or labs that design the abutment digitally in the clouds on their computers and send them to us. Our Custom Direct pricing model is at the value segment as well. Depending on what you get, you can get a custom abutment for between $99 and $129 per unit. It's an incredible innovation, but also innovation in price point and how we deliver it. But what we do is we know what we're good at. So what we seek our partners, our lab partners, or dental service organizations that we can create solutions for. So for instance, one kept telling us they're buying a $300 gold UCLA abutment. Well, we just moved them to between a $99 and $109 custom abutment instead. Now that's innovation. That's offering them a solution. That's listening to our customer. Now think about it. They're doing between 1,500 and 2,000 gold UCLA abutments per month. Imagine what they're selling by switching to our Custom Direct product. That's innovation. Our innovation one of the main issues that we hear out in the marketplace in all of the trade shows that we go to, I think one of the first ones to report on this was Dr. Tom Wilson on peri-implantitis. So you see papers written about it, you see presentations written about it, and some people have a thought that it might be cement. Well, we're working on a cement that is much easier to see once you seat the abutment and you seat the crown. Some people believe that it has to do with a roughened surface all the way up to the top. Well, we have just introduced in the European market an implant, a legacy implant called the Legacy P, that it has a roughened surface 2/3 of the way up the implant, and then a machine surface the last third. So this is innovation that we're looking at. We're not necessarily taking a position that it is the cement or it is the roughened surface. But what we're doing is we're going out what we call in Danaher business speak as Gemba, where the action is. We're a company that wants to go where the action is and listen to the doctors, but also we need to interpret what the doctors say. So just because the doctor says, I want something, well, a doctor only knows what a doctor knows. So we have to listen to the doctors from Europe. So we have the IDS meeting coming up next week. We will be in Gemba meeting with doctors from Europe, finding out what's happening there and what their solutions are, what they need. And then this week, we have people at the Academy of Osseointegration meeting, learning from them. then we have to interpret it and innovate and bring out products like our new Legacy P. There are other things in the pipeline, but as you can imagine, a lot of the R&D, it's tough to bring it out now in a podcast form before we get intellectual property locked up and things like that. But I can assure you, we continue to evolve and roll out new products.
Yeah, and you know what I like about the things you guys do is, you know, you're always looking at what are the needs and the wants of the customer and making your evolutions and changes based on that, not necessarily just what makes sense internally. You're looking at what do our users want? What does the research say? What makes sense in the hands of the users, and then adapting to that. You know, what are the trends in dentistry? What really makes sense on a lab user interface and supplying dentists and labs with more economical, easier to use, and easier to implement systems. And I think that's when it's going to make a big difference, because when my lab can get the supplies they need, and when I can get the supplies that I need, and all the barriers for doing business are removed, I think that's when you really have a good team. And then, now that you have the size and the support and the backing with the field reps and the service teams, I mean, it sounds like you guys are closing all the weaknesses and really, really wrapping it up in a way that is going to make it hard for anybody to do, competition with you long term. Because obviously, you're grabbing the better qualities of all the companies and kind of combining them all in one, it sounds like.
And working to improve them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked earlier about the changes in dentistry. Let's go through the three distinct changes so far in implant dentistry on the restorative side. So on the restorative side, when I first came into the industry in 92, it was all about functional. Are they going to osseointegrate, and will they function for the life of the patient, hopefully, or how long will they function? Then it evolved into aesthetically pleasing, right? We've got to get it to match as close as possible. Well, now what we're working on is indiscernible implant dentistry. So when you smile and we deliver, or actually you in your practice in Kansas, right? When you deliver that final restoration on top of one of our implants, and they go home to their spouse or their significant other or their kids, they expect, and you expect us to deliver to you, solutions for you to deliver to the patient indiscernible dentistry. They don't know that there's an implant that's been restored. That's where it's evolved to. Now, how do we do that? Now, did doctors ask us for indiscernible dentistry? No. What they asked for is they asked for very nice dentistry. They asked for a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and we had to interpret what people were saying and say, okay, we're going to have to invest heavily. You saw what we invested in for that custom direct product. That's not a huge money making. We could have outsourced that. There are tons of labs that do that. We wanted to control it. Now, here's what we want to do. Internally, we want to take those custom abutments, instead of sending them out to get anodized yellow or gold or partially pink, we're going to be doing that in-house at a price at half the price of the leading custom abutment company, if not more. So nobody asked us to do dual hue on a custom abutment, but that's what we're going to be delivering at an incredible price. So that's what we're doing to innovate, to really deliver things that doctors may not know that that's what they want to deliver, or delivered to them, I should say, but it allows them to deliver indiscernible implant dentistry cases.
Yeah, and as patients' expectations grow, with dental implants, and so do the dentist's expectations, and so everybody's got to step up their game. You can't sit back and rest on the laurels of what we were doing 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago in implant dentistry might as well be 30 years ago. So you've got to continue to innovate and change and meet the needs of the growing market.
Well, I want to add this. Here's something that's key. And every doctor that listens to this, I want them to understand a phrase. So as salespeople, there's something called loaded as loyal. If I, as a salesperson, walk into your office in Kansas and I get you to buy 50 implants and I give you 5 for free, you're going to be loyal to me because you've got 55 implants on the shelf, right? That's not what Implant Direct does. Our average call-in sale is $540. Our average online sale is about $800. Now, there's a reason why doctors buy more online, because doctors online are a little bit more open to a pop-up when they put in their implant into the shopping cart to remind them that they have not ordered a drill for a while. And so they're a little bit more open to buying that drill than if they're just quickly calling somebody. But we don't worry about that. We don't try to even drive people to our online store to do more. But what it does is, instead of us having a relationship after you're done or after you're close to being done ordering 50 implants from us 3 months ago, we have conversations with you 2, 3, 4 times a week, because our doctors are buying, on average, $540 worth of product, a couple of implants, and some bone. And they're doing it for each case. So that frees up a doctor's capital. That is absolutely freeing up money to go into the doctor's practice. Now, doctors didn't ask for that. You know what? It feels good to get a special when you're buying $400 implants and you're getting 5 for free when you buy 50. How about buy a $200 all-in-one package implant and you buy 2 at a time, and you get that for your patient, you deliver it to your patient, and you've paid very little for that. The value to that is incredible. That's what we offer. So when somebody comes to you, doctor, and offers you that special, just think Implant Direct, give us a call, find out what our product is.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I don't keep 50 or 100 implants on my shelf. One, like you said, I don't like writing $16,000 checks for, things to sit on my shelf. I like the idea to buy 2 or 3 a week as my cases, as I schedule. Always have a couple extra on hand for different sizes here and there, a couple extra parts. But like you said, the flexibility to use as you go and call as you need and get the training and the online support. I mean, if you've got the support and got the resources, might as well use it. I don't feel pressured into buying 40 implants from Implant Direct. I know that, hey, I can call today and have one there Monday. I mean, it's not a big deal. And so that case by case ordering really works well. And when you've got good prices, you don't need to give stuff away, because it's the value is already built into that price and the system. So that makes logical sense.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And of course, probably what gravitated you towards Implant Direct, there are a lot of great companies out there, a lot of great competitors. And there are companies that are way more expensive and way less expensive, but we believe we have an incredible value proposition with how we package our products, made in America, with in-practice support, on-phone support, and all those other ways that we have, including industry-leading education opportunities.
I know we've been going for about 45 minutes here, and I told you that was kind of our time frame we were looking for. Someone is thinking about implants, or they're thinking about implant dentistry, and they're thinking about Implant Direct. Tell someone what's in it for them to look in a partnership with you guys, and what's the best way to get a partnership with Implant Direct? Is it through the education? Is it just get a kit and get going? Is it find a mentor? Is it find a rep? Is it come take a tour? What's the best way to get a feel for what they should be doing?
You brought up, I would say yes to all of the things
Sure.
you said, but I think what I would focus on is this. I'll break it down on the specialist side, right? So surgical specialist, oral surgeon, periodontist, what some refer to as a super GP or an implantologist, I think is a better word. Those doctors doing 100, 300, 500 implants per year. I think what I would say, what makes us unique is the things that I laid out, but also the passion we have for what they have a passion for. If you're placing 300, 400, 500 implants a year, you have a similar passion that we have. Just connecting with us, whether it's through an education course, stopping by our booth at a trade show, send me an email at tstratton@implantdirect.com, right? I mean, I go to Gemba all the time. I love implant dentistry. This is my industry until I'm done, but I ain't done. All right. So now a general dentist that is placing 25 to 50 and want to go to the next level, go online and look at our education courses. It's perfect for what you want to do. We have so many ways to connect with us in a world-class education center with, quite frankly, world-class speakers. The other thing to do, the reason why I gravitated towards you and we decided to do this, is it's continuous learning. This is not a 2-year thing that you're going to do. You're going to do this for good. And what I'm so impressed with as I listen to your podcast, not only the quality of what you're presenting, but what doctors need, and you and I talked about this earlier today, doctors a lot of them in that 25 to 50 implant category, they want to meet somebody like you, somebody like our speakers, August De Oliveira and others. They want to find that mentor, but have many opportunities to connect with them. So for you, they get that in their ears. They get that on your website. And hopefully they'll get that in speaking opportunities that we evolve into and that you may evolve into. But with others in our Vegas Center, they don't just take one course from Dr. De Oliveira or other people on our team. They can take multiple courses. Lastly, you've got to look at what these mentors are guiding you to. You have to make the decision, where do I want to bring my practice? Because you have choices. You have ortho, endo, implant dentistry, cosmetic dentistry. If you choose implant dentistry, we believe we have the value proposition for you. The best price, great service, great education. Then if you're placing none, you're not placing implants, but you just want to explore it. Go online, sign up for our 101 course, explore it. If you believe it's for you, don't buy our system. Do not buy our system at the 101 course. Now, my reps are going to hate me when they hear this. Don't buy our system until you've signed up for your second course or until you've signed up for a second and third course. Because if you're going to go to a one weekend course and buy an implant system and think you're going to start placing your implants, if you buy 20 implants and buy a kit, you're probably going to place 2 for the first year if you don't start going to more courses. I think lastly, any of those categories, if you want to learn more about Implant Direct, connect with us and call us here in Los Angeles. And what we'll do is we'll send out a rep to come in and talk to you. No pressure. You'll just learn more about what we have to offer, what our products and services are, and our education, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, perfect. Tom, I think that's a good way to wrap it up. If there's anything else you want to add before we close, feel free to do that.
I think for me, I'd just like to say thank you. Your podcast has been very inspiring. I have one podcast for implant dentistry. As you saw on my, we kind of looked at some of my podcasts that I'm into, and for implant dentistry, that's it, just yours. And I've listened to so many of them, and it's inspiring because it's an industry that I have so much passion for. I believe that we help deliver smiles all over the world, but really what we're delivering is healthy smiles. We're delivering something. Let me back up. I believe we give the tools to dentists to deliver those healthy smiles. I believe we give the tools and the passion and the educational resources for doctors to deliver these smiles and this health to patients. So thank you for inspiring me with your podcast and coming out for this Implant Direct tour experience and spending some time with us and allowing me to spend time with you and your audience.
Yeah, I've got to say, I love implant dentistry. It's been the best investment I've done in my dental career and in my practice. And, once I've got started, I realized I've got to continue to move and go and learn and I've never looked back. But it's encouraging to meet and talk with people that have that similar passion. And I've met through yourself and through other speakers and people in your company, a whole bunch of people that have that passion. And I think that's exciting for the field. And I think if anyone really opens up and gives Implant Direct and its people and its processes an opportunity, they're going to really like the doors that open in their career, and they're going to really like the service and the products they get. So I really, really appreciate your time with me here today.
Thank you. And safe travels.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.